Okay, if you are working in the adapted booklet, again, we are still on the first page. We just finished doing some circumference practice, and now we're going to look at some angle review. And so the three type of angles you are going to be looking at are acute angle, obtuse angle, and right angle. And so an acute angle is any angle that is less than 90 degrees. So anything between 0 and 90 degrees. Okay, so as long as you draw anything that, so if this was 90 degrees, anything that is less than that, so maybe it could be an angle like this, or it could be an angle like that. Okay, anything that's less than 90. When we talk about an obtuse angle, we're talking about greater than 90 degrees. And so, again, if we're thinking 90 is there, it needs to be larger or more open than that. So maybe it's like this, maybe it's like that, so really wide open, okay? And then lastly, a right angle. Well, this is just a 90-degree angle. And we show 90-degree angle with a square. So hopefully that review was actually a review for you. So next part, if we're looking at working with angles, we can estimate a size of an angle by comparing it to a 90-degree angle. So is it less than 90? Is it a lot less than 90? Is it greater than 90? Is it a lot greater? Is it greater than 180? That kind of thing. So if we look at this first example for angle A, we're estimating, okay, well, it's definitely less than 90. And I think that it might be about half of 90. So if it's half of 90, it would be 45. And so if it's a little bit more than that, we could say, well, actually, it's not quite halfway, but it's somewhere between halfway and 90 degrees. So then you would estimate something in between. So maybe 55 degrees, 65 degrees, anything higher than that might be a little bit too high of a guess. And then the way that we would double check is by taking a protractor and then measuring. So I'm going to ask you to actually measure these with your protractor, and we can check them together in class. But try to estimate them first. Keep in mind that this is an acute angle, so we think acute angle should be less than 90 degrees, and B is an obtuse angle, and so it should be greater than 90 degrees. Okay, so bisecting angles. When we're talking about bisecting, we're talking about cutting something in two equal pieces. Okay, think of a bicycle. So bisect cuts in two. Bicycle has two wheels. And when we bisect an angle, we represent it with the same symbol. So if you notice, each piece of the angle has a little dash, just like we did on the line. Or sometimes you might just see a little dot inside it. Whatever it is, they get the same symbol. And so there's two ways that we can bisect a line. So you could take your paper and you could fold it. So that way the line from OC and the line from AO actually line up on each other, and then wherever the crease is would tell you where to draw the line. Or you can take a protractor and measure the line and then take your measurement and cut it in half. So I'll show you how to do A, and then you can do B yourself. And so angle A is 90 degrees. If we're going to bisect it, we're going to cut it in half. And so we need to cut it at 45 degrees. So then I would take a protractor and I would measure 45 degrees. And then, so wherever 45 is, I would make a dot. And then I would connect it back to the starting point. So if you could give B a try, keep in mind that B is a obtuse angle.